Hi, in this clip I'm going to show you how to create pivot charts. I have a pivot table here and it has all of my stores, has stored data for the last 8 years, all of our sales. Now, we're just seeing January, February, and March, those totals for each store. But if we come over here to our pivot table fields, we can see that we have data for all of the months. We even have a calculated field for Q1 totals. We want to create a chart out of this information, and it's really easy to do this once we have the pivot table already created. We have to make sure that we have at least one cell selected here in our pivot table. We come up to our pivot table tools and click on the Analyze tab. Over here to the right in the Tools section, we'll see Pivot Chart. We're going to click there, and we can choose the different types of charts that we might want to create. We're going to go ahead and use a clustered column chart. We'll click OK, and there's my chart. And notice now that we now have pivot chart tools, and we're going to go to the Analyze tab, and we're actually going to move this chart. I want to put it on a different sheet. I'm going to put it here on sheet 2, click OK, and then I can go ahead and make it bigger so it's a little bit easier for us to see. All right, now let's go ahead. I want to create another chart from another pivot table. Well, actually, from some pivot data. So let's go ahead and I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to open up this other table here. Now, I already have a pivot table created from this data, but I'm going to go to this table, and I want to create both a pivot table and a pivot chart, and I can do that at the same time. This is a really cool feature. I've got my table selected. I have one cell selected in my table. I'm going to go to my Insert tab. And when I come over here to the Charts section, you'll see I have an option for Pivot Chart. But notice that the Pivot Chart button here is two different parts, top and bottom. If I look down here at the bottom, you'll see that tiny little arrow. That lets me know, hey, there's something more underneath there. If I go ahead and click on the bottom part, you see I have two options. I have Pivot Chart or Pivot Chart and Pivot Table. Let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's click on that. It's got our range, and we're going to put it on a new worksheet. We'll click OK, and look at that. I have a pivot table and a pivot chart, and they're connected. If I go ahead and I'm going to drag my store down here into my filters, look at that. It starts creating the chart, and it starts creating the filter over here for the table. Let's go ahead. Let's add sales reps. And let's add revenue. And see that as we go ahead and work on our pivot table fields over here, it also adds all of those fields to the chart because they are connected. And that is true of the other chart that we created as well. So now you know how to create pivot charts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.